What it is, homies, Mick Flubberpants all up in this hizzy. Back at you again with day 2 of Art Quest, Inktober. Today's prompt was Scurry. And I was initially thinking of those little soot sprites from Spirited Away because of how they always scurry around. And because it's me, I was like, what if I drew a bunch of those soot sprites scurrying around on a sexy lady? And that's what I was originally gonna do, but I just couldn't get it right. And then I remembered how poorly the first day went, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that in time. So I started playing around with the more painterly brushes in a sketchbook, and I was thinking about the prompt. It's like, oh, what else can I do with the prompt? And scurry, what's scurries? And I'm just fitzing around, and I find this. It's marked as hair, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's kind of cool. That looks kind of cool. Maybe I'll do a rat. Rats scurry a lot, especially in restaurants. I should know. I've worked in them my entire life. And so I decided I'm gonna do a rat. And so here's me. This is when I decided right here. I started adding on the ear. I pulled up some references. I started adding on the ear there. And then I was just kept on layering down black or white. I wanted to play with tonality in this one, mostly monochrome, and just experimenting. This was a gigantic experiment for me. I never really looked at these brushes before, and I figured, you know what? With me trying to improve, now's the time to explore different avenues. And here I am, just going through, trying different brushes, different pens. I really like the look of the Dream brush right here. I think it looks really good. And so I'm glad that I discovered it. I am certainly going to be using it more often. I am mostly playing around with the watercolor stuff. They have a smudge brush called Hair. I'm using that a lot to generate the fur. Here I am finally figuring out what I want to do for the eye. I kind of create this little pupil here by layering on a bunch of blacks, smudging it out to gray, layering on more blacks, smudging it out to gray. I think it ended up looking very well. At this point, I am trying to establish the chin a little more, and I really wanted to avoid doing an outline, so I just was like, okay, I put down a line. This is where I want the chin to be. I'm gonna add a ton of shadow there, and in order to really bring that forward, make it more pronounced. I was kind of paying attention to my light source, but not really. If you look at it, the light source is pretty inconsistent, but I'm not very good at shading or coloring. I never was, even when I was what I would consider much better at art than I currently am. I never really figured it out, and I'm using this series, this opportunity to kind of relearn art, I guess. And this is an example of me going very far out of my comfort zone. It's essentially a digital charcoal drawing, what I'm doing right here. What a lot of art schools and a lot of artists do for practice, they'll practice with charcoal. And with charcoal, you pretty much have to just do black, gray, and white and play with the values until you make an image. And that's exactly what I was doing here. I was just kind of freeballing it, and I was checking to see how much of this was empty and how much of it was me actually adding color to it, and I decided to cheat a little bit and add a background layer that was beige, and I really like the way that beige turned out, so I decided to leave it, and it looks a lot better with the beige background instead of the white background. I kind of couldn't figure out what I wanted to do for the rat, so here I am messing around with the background, adding some more dynamic shapes and strokes to it to make it a more interesting looking drawing. And at this point, I was just kind of trying to figure out what else to do. There's a lot of times where I was pausing. I flipped the canvas to see if I liked the way that it looked, and it still looked balanced. It looked pretty balanced. I don't flip my canvases a lot. I find that I'm actually naturally pretty good at composition and will often have a balanced piece or a good looking composition without needing to do it, but I still did it and it still looked good in my opinion. And yeah, I'm just kind of sitting here staring at it for like minutes trying to find what else to do because I still had, I think, like 20 minutes left on the clock trying to figure out what to do. And so I found a couple of flaws, I fixed them, and yeah, I'm just kind of sitting here and staring at it. So I decided to end it because I couldn't think of what else to do. I thought it looked very good enough. I felt like anything I would add would make it worse. I really like how the whiskers came out. I like that those are the only solid black lines are the whiskers. I really like the hair. I think I did a really good job with this one. I don't know. Tell me what you think. And with that, McFlubber Pants is over and out of this hizzy. Bye-bye, everybody.